friends, it's Monica Genta here, and welcome to the Teacher Vlog, where we invite people who are educating kids from all over the world. And we bring you 2 tips to help you crush it in the classroom. Now, I emphasize world because today's episode is international. I have invited my friend Gary Gray Jr. to the episode, and he is a teacher 10,000 miles away. Now, as you watch the episode, you might hear some pauses and see some breaks in the video. Friends, that is because this is literally from 10,000 miles away, but the content is incredible. He is going to be talking to you about how you could teach not within the country that you live. Like, you want to go to Philippines? You want to go to Canada? You want to go to Singapore? The options are endless. Now, at the end of the episode, I want you to stick around because I've got something that I think is going to apply to every teacher, regardless of where your physical location is. For now, let's get rolling with this really cool episode with Gary. Super excited to be bringing you this episode. This is my friend Gary, and he is coming to us today from Singapore. It is 7 a.m. my time, and it is 9 p.m. his time on a Friday night. Where would he rather be than recording this episode on a Friday night? I mean, right?
Of course. I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Yes. Highlight of the week. Nothing that happened in your classroom is going to top this experience at 9 p.m. on a Friday night. So
I'm
welcome.
ready to go. Thank you.
You are here to talk about international teaching, which I think is something that sounds super, super appealing, but also potentially scary for a lot of teachers. They're intrigued by it, but I think the question is how? How would I even get started on something like that? So here we are, a guy who's been doing it for years.
So I have been doing it for a little while. Me and my wife have been international for 4, 5, 6, 7 years now. The first thing I would do if I could give anyone any tips is you need to just research online, job fairs every year in specific vouchers to go in and experience different schools. So the company that I use was called Search Associates, and they're basically a company for teachers. You basically hire someone to kind of mentor you in the process, and they kind of tell you what schools would be good fits for you. They help you with your resume. You don't have to necessarily go to a job fair from this company, but they allow you to open up a bank of schools around the world that you can see multiple number of salaries. You can see what are the schools offering you, and that's the start. And it's not overwhelming. It's more exciting than anything because all of these schools are offering something different, and I think mainly because they're in so many different countries. So I'm here to convince you. I'm ready to go right now. I'm fired up.
Yeah. That's awesome. So basically it's these they're almost like ambassadors for teaching out of the country, and they get to know you as an individual, and then they fit you with something that is based off of maybe your interests and your skill sets.
Yeah, basically. And you obviously have a huge say in what those jobs are. But because they've been around for so long, they kind of know not necessarily what schools are good and what schools are bad, but they have experience with so many of them that you before you're even there. So that's huge for people, especially if you have never experienced international teaching before.
Yeah. So you're currently in Singapore. What brought you there? What was the push of you saw this and you thought, yep, that's a good fit?
You know what? So I was in Kuwait for 3 years, and for what it was worth, Kuwait was definitely a stepping stone for me. So I went there knowing that I was going to have not a lot of resources, on curriculum, and figuring things out. But I knew that's what I needed coming out of university. Singapore was a little bit of a surprise in the international kind of school system and school world. Like Singapore American School is one of those schools where you kind of go to at the end of your career because it is one of the biggest international schools, if not the biggest international school in the world. We have like over 4,000 kids. We have tons of professional development, and we always have people coming in trying to help us get better. And there's lots of high expectations. I think I got a little bit. I don't know if I think I got a little bit lucky in a sense where I had my resume on the Search Associates, and they mentioned to me that they wanted to interview. Me and my wife interviewed, and it happened really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And they kind of gave us a rundown of what Singapore was like. And after just looking at the country itself and hearing about the school, it was almost like a no-brainer. We just had to check it out. We had to experience it for ourselves. So
Cool.
We're excited. And the crazy part is we're actually moving this year. So that makes it even more exciting as
like
well.
Moving within Singapore, or like you're going to your next teaching location?
Moving to my next teaching location.
Can you say what it is yet, or is that under wraps?
I have said already. So me and my wife, after being here for 4 years, and we love Singapore. We love the school. It's one of those, again, dream schools that people dream about going to. But this next school year, we'll be in Manila teaching at a school called International School of Manila, so in the Philippines. So we're super excited about that as well.
Awesome! This is so cool. Like,
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
sitting here listening,
So
so
again,
jealous.
you can always come and visit. We love visitors. So
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. Before we started recording, we were talking about like how much both of us have a passion for travel, and like most of my travel is within the United States, and that's been cool. But to hear you say like, oh, I'm going to this country and I'm teaching in this country, and oh, by the way, I'm like moving to the Philippines, no big deal. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It's crazy. I think it seems like, and because of our age right now, we're relatively younger teachers, so it's a little bit easier for us to move. We don't have kids. We just got married about a year ago. So I think it would be a good time for us to go. And we also have friends that are there as well. So that's another reason why that we're really excited.
Yeah. Cool. So what would you say to a teacher who's like, okay, this sounds amazing. I love to travel. It's a good time in my life because of the relationships, or because of I don't have kids. Like, what would be that first step? If it's something that's like on your heart and in your head, like what do I do, man?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is seek out those who are already experiencing it, and honestly ask them for their honest opinion about international teaching, and also about the schools that they are applying for. So obviously the biggest step is actually trying to apply to these schools, but then researching and asking the questions like, what do you know about this country? What do you know about this school? Don't be scared. Just do it. Don't be scared.
I love it. I think something that's really cool is that step is of getting the passport. I was just talking to another teacher, and she we're doing a speaking event internationally. We're speaking in the Bahamas this summer, and she's like, Monica, I didn't even have a passport. Now that I have a passport, I'm looking like, oh, I'd like to go to Europe. I'd like to go to like Aruba. And I think that's the thing. Once you get that passport, it's like you can go anywhere.
It's crazy. It's on, like, I played basketball in university in Canada, and coming out of high school, I wanted to travel, but friends would want to go to like the Dominican or like Cuba, and I was never really into that at all, like the resorts and the laying on the beach. But now that I've been international, like, it's hard to even describe the number of places that I've been able to travel to. It's just mind-boggling being able to look back at pictures or experiences, knowing that you've been to these places that you honestly only dream of.
Yeah.
And to be able to access them within hours is just like crazy too. It just still doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So again, traveling is like, it's the icing on the cake.
Right.
Like You don't believe it until you're in it, and you will experience absolutely everything you dream of.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And you get to do all of this while teaching, which I think is
While
just like the
teaching.
perfect storm, right? You're combining so many passions and then leading this really cool life full of experiences. And then maybe even the best part, I would think, is that you get to share that with your students. You get to share these
Hmm.
experiences and use them as a platform for education, which is just mind-blowing.
You do. Like, these kids come in from all different walks of life and you are in the same situation as them. You are so-called immigrants coming from a different country,
Yeah.
and students are asking you questions. Where are you from? And you're asking them the same questions back. And you're literally learning about all these people, different cultures, different backgrounds, different identities every single year, because every single person in the class has this very super unique story, which makes your classroom just magical.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Amazing. I love his vibe. I love his smile. I love his sense of adventure and his willingness to step outside of his comfort zone and say, hey, I want to travel and I want to teach, so let's combine those passions and let's go teach internationally. Guys, make sure you are connecting with Gary on Instagram. His link is below. Now, speaking of connections, one of the things that I'm super passionate about is connecting teachers from all over the globe to learn and grow together. And that is why I have created 4 different online courses, one of which I'm confident is perfect for you. If you are looking for ways to engage and motivate students, or maybe ways to better the climate and culture in your school, maybe you're looking for something to build really deep relationships with students, or maybe you're just looking to crush it in the classroom. There are 4 different online courses that I teach throughout the entire year. And the best part is you learn and grow while getting professional development credit hours, and you are connected with incredible teachers from all over the globe. Guys, if you want to learn more about that, check out monicagenta.com/challenge, and you can find the perfect course for your schedule and for your unique needs as a teacher. If you enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, and share it with all of your friends. But most importantly, when you walk into your school this week, I want you to remember one really important thing. Hey, you got this.